Hello and welcome. This is Crossing Bridges Talk Show. I'm your host, Larry Montgomery Sr., and this is my co-host, my son, William. William, introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. I'm William Montgomery. Proud to be here.
This week, we want to talk about wealth, W-E-A-L-T-H, wealth. And this is a conversation that I, as a father, I know I should have had early on in life with my father, and again, early on in life with my son. So part of this is going to be from experience, and the other part is going to be from inexperience. Okay. So this is the first time we're having this conversation. I don't think I'm going to say anything that you don't already know, but maybe I can encourage you to give it some more thought. Now, as usual, I've done a little research on the topic, and I'm going to give that to you. It's not a lot, just a few points. But I think to kind of preface the conversation is that had we had this conversation when you were 5 years old, okay, by the time you became a teenager, ready to graduate from high school, things would probably be different, because by then you would have learned and developed the commitment to look down the road and not necessarily, I'm not being critical of you, I'm just saying, as far as the conversation, to be able to focus and look down the road and see, well, look, this is my goal. I have a goal. I have several goals or whatever, and I need to keep focused on them as I do things. Because one of the things that we're going to talk about is the lifestyle creep. Interesting thought, but it's something that we all face every day. A lifestyle creep. Sometimes your lifestyle just creeps up on you, and you're not necessarily realizing that it's there and that it's actually having that much influence over your life that is going to impact your life. Okay, so let me pull this up real quick and give a few pointers here. Let's see here. Okay. How to build wealth. The first thing they talk about is creating a budget. Now, we've had that conversation, and clearly it's something that's important. I don't know if you've gotten a chance to actually sit down and update yours, Will, but I do keep mine's in front of me for various reasons. So, in creating a budget, understanding how you're spending your money and where you can cut back is essential to saving and growing your wealth. Okay, here's some quick pointers, and then I'll talk a little bit about put some meat on that bone. Pay off any high interest debts. Build an emergency fund. Invest as much of your income as you can. Reduce your living expenses where you can, and avoid lifestyle creep. Then it talks about negotiate your salary, which is, not everybody's in a position to negotiate, and not everybody realizes that it's a step that is available to you. Sometimes you have to realize if you don't ask, you never get an answer, or you'll never find out what you can and cannot do. There's nothing wrong with asking, and sometimes you impress people when you ask a question. They may not want to answer it, or they may have an answer that you might not like, but at least they can't say you never asked. Okay? So when we talk about how to build your wealth, you want to end up, you have to have a goal. You want to end up with more money than you started out with. In other words, to build wealth. Now you're saying, okay, start out with money, okay, and then end up. And what do you mean by end up? Well, the moment before you die. Okay, that's where you end up. Building wealth isn't just about having a few extra $1,000 sitting around for your next vacation, or even for something more serious, like a potential medical emergency. It also doesn't mean becoming a multimillionaire necessarily. Building wealth is about the rest of your life. It's about creating a financial foundation that will ensure your financial comfort for life, including amassing enough wealth to live comfortably and happily throughout your retirement. Now, it goes on to talk about you want to develop a strong wealth. You want to develop strong wealth building habits. Okay, this is what we say. It's like a job. You have to do it a particular way in order to continue to have it run correctly. The first thing they offer is to create a budget, understanding how you're spending your money and where you can cut back those things that aren't essential, so you can save and grow your wealth. They offer up a great rule to remember, and that is budgeting is the 50-30-20 rule, where you'll aim to spend about 50% of your income on fixed items like rent, utilities, transportation, and so on, 30% of your variable expenses, and 20% for financial matters such as savings and investing. So basically, they're saying here, when you create your budget, have in mind to put at least 20% aside. Now, that might be in addition to your 401ks or things like that there, or your automatic savings accounts. But you want to try to get that number to be at least 20%. I think when we talked about budgeting, we used the figure of 10%. It goes on, offer, again, pay off any high interest debts. Sometimes you run into those things. They happen. You buy a car or something like that there. Most people, their first car is you're not going to get favorable interest rates. You'll get something that, is the payment something I can manage? Okay, fine. I'm buying this bad boy, and we're going to drive. A lot of people don't say put money aside for emergencies, and trust me, emergencies do come up. People get sick. People that are close to may die. You may have to leave town to go to the funeral or something like that there. So there are things that could come up. Number 4 was invest as much of your income as you can. Now, you don't want to go completely nuts. You got to have some walking around money in your pocket, and like I said, emergency fund money that you want to reserve. Typically, I think the thinking has been with emergencies, you want to try to save up enough money in case you lose your job. What am I going to do if I can't find a job as quickly as I would like? So you try to look for 6 months income to be saved up just in case of that. Now, the next issue might be if there's an emergency, if I get sick and I'm out of work for a couple of months or something like that. That would be in addition to, if possible, that 6 months that you got in your back pocket there in case you lose your job. All right. Number 5 was reduce your living expenses where you can. And what they're saying is this sort of piggybacks off of the budgeting tip. Once you start trimming your variable costs, reducing your fixed costs can have a huge impact on your money you can save. Can you lower your rent by living in a cheaper neighborhood, downsizing your home, or perhaps getting a roommate? Can't you, what's this? It says, can't you bum the Netflix or Spotify, Hulu password from your ex's aunt, something like that, to your best friend? You can use that now. I'm not suggesting that, but I guess people do that. Can you finally learn to cook so you don't end up ordering takeout every other day? Write down all the money that you're saving. Well, wait a minute. Write down all the money you're saving from making these changes, which brings us to the next point. Okay, the next point here. Yeah, I'm trying to look over the camera. Avoid lifestyle creep. There's a good reason why many people with millions in the bank still clip coupons.
Mm.
Wow. People with millions of dollars still clip coupons to avoid lifestyle creep, a terrible condition in which you automatically adjust your lifestyle up a notch in line with your new financial realities. You got a raise, so you spend more money. You got a raise, so you get a bigger apartment. You got a raise, so you bought a house. You know what I mean? You bought a new car. You bought a whole new wardrobe. You got a raise, and then suddenly that raise is, hey, I'm now still kind of scrimp through the week, try to have lunch money because I got a raise and I spent all the money up front.
Mm-hmm.
Style creep is getting a raise, okay, and then upgrading to a luxury apartment. I just said that. Buying a hot tub or dining in the best restaurants and treating yourself to a new car and getting everyone's drink at the bar. Okay. Try to maintain the lifestyle you had before the influx of new cash. Instead, put the money away and try to maintain a lifestyle where you reduce as many unnecessary costs as possible. Next time you get a raise or tax refund or bonus, hide it away before you are tempted to spend it on something useless. And then here we go with number 7, negotiate your salary. This is where you'll need to be particularly proactive. Look at online data to see what others in your position and industry are being paid. Do some bedtime reading. Make a list of all your work achievements and approach your boss with a request for a raise. Be sure to come armed with specific examples of why you deserve a bump in your paycheck. If you feel unsatisfied with what you're being paid and negotiating does not work, it might be time to start looking for another job. Changing jobs often leads to an increase in income. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
let's stop right there for a minute because then it goes off on some other tangents here. But understanding that money, it's a commodity, and a lot of people, have a wrong attitude about it. It's just not a guarantee that it's going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
You it could come and go. Things could be great today. Tomorrow, you can't find a dime.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you retire. Now, retirement is interesting because it's connected to your age. Okay? You're gonna make it, man. You're about to drift off there on me.
No, I'm here. Okay.
And so when you get old, you can't do what you used to do. You should be able to go from one job to the next because I want more money. But then when you get there, they still want you to maintain the same enthusiasm, continue to have the same habits as far as, I can work all night and still get up in the morning and get to work early. I'm old. I don't get up early.
Mm-hmm.
Unless it's really, really something important. And it can't be important every day. Okay.
True.
5 days out the week, I might make 1 week. I ain't gonna make another one. It's just the body just said, hell no, I ain't getting up. So while you still have the energy and the fortitude to work those hours, then you do. Otherwise, you try to learn how to work smarter, or better yet, get your money to work for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we really want to get our conversation to. We're going to talk a lot about that next week, but I wanted to kind of lay the groundwork for it this week, the things that have to be done. Because one of the things that we have to keep in mind is no matter what you do, there's a risk associated with it. Okay. You know, you start working a second job. Um, that's great. You're making more money, but you're also putting more stress on the car. So you're spending more money. You know, you're not at home. So there's more stress on your relationship. You're not doing your fatherly duties because you're not there. So there's a lacking there. So there's a trade-off, and you have to understand and be willing to make that decision based on those things that are going to change in your life to make this change. But again, having your goal in front of you, let's just say, having a partner, wife, whatever, that is going to work with you, that has the same goal in mind, and they're willing to make that sacrifice, then fine. We both know we're sacrificing. Okay. We both understand what we can and cannot do. Life has changed for us. If you start out early, then it's a habit, it's not a problem for you. But for your mate or your wife or whatever, they may not be familiar with that. Okay? They may just be, hey, I got my one job, I'm good. Okay, fine. And instead of taking on a second job, I'll just cut back. Cut back on what? Spending money on what? Clothes. That wasn't really a necessity, but you do that. On food, yeah, well, you still need to eat. Eat differently. Okay, we don't eat out as much as we used to. And when we do eat out, we don't spend as much as we used to, type of a thing. So there's some changes, as long as you've agreed on them, it shouldn't be a problem. But now again, back to the other sacrifices, such as with the children. Well, Daddy, let's sit down and help me with my homework. I got this project I have to do, and when you're going to help me? Oh, I'll be there. I'll be there, and you can't be there because you got to go to work. Yeah, I know it's only one project this semester. Then there's the next semester. And so what are you teaching your kids? Okay. That yes, it's important to work. It's important to be, to keep your commitments, but they're also important to you. You have to not only tell them that, but you got to show them that and let them understand that that is the case, that they are important, that you are there with them and for them. Right? So you want to try to get your money to work hard for you, and then that money that you have working for you, you need to manage it well. And that's, again, we go back to the lifestyle creep. Well, you're making $100,000 a year and you're driving a hoopty. You look like Columbo coming down the street. We got to do better than that. Well, okay, so what do we do? Oh, well, let's buy a new Rolls Royce. You got that kind of money going on. Well, how about I do this? I'll just buy a new hoopty. It'll just be a newer hoopty. Okay. And so you have those conversations because it's easy to fall prey to the pressure. Neighbor just bought a new hoopty. I'd work harder than him or her. I'll buy one too. But you didn't need it. The one you had was working fine. This is what Columbo taught me. That bad boy kept rolling. It matter. Kept rolling. And that raincoat, them shoes. I don't think it's cut his hair, but eventually I'm sure she did. But anyway, when we talk about making more money and managing it well, sometimes there's a risk with making that more money. Again, taking a second job, which is great. All right, you work 9 to 5 at the bank or whatever, and then you work 6 to 10 at the mall. Okay, I've done that. Okay, I worked at the bank from 8 to 5, and then on the way home, taking the train to get off in Jamaica, and right upstairs was Gimbals. And I had a part-time job there. Which is great. And then come home, dead tired, get up in the morning, do it again. Yeah. Didn't spend much money because I had time to spend no money. So that was working out fine. But the sacrifice, you're not home for dinner. You're not home to hold hands with your wife. You're not, you're just not there. And so that's life. But again, if you make the money and then you manage it well, it'll make money for you, so you don't have to put those hours in. Okay. And like I said, there's risk. Even with the second job, you could be on your way home on the train and get robbed because people see you. Oh, he's working hard. I see him every night. Yeah, got the new sneakers on, the Nikes. Must got a pocket full of money. It's Friday night. Yeah. So, did you get robbed? And beat up, hurt? It's not easy. But if you cut down on your spending from your regular job, you might not have to work that second job.
True.
And if you invest well. Now, when we're going to talk about investing, you can invest in the stock market, which is, an opportunity. You can invest in real estate. It's an opportunity. You can invest in other small businesses that are not on the stock market, on the exchange. And you can invest in people. And so what do? You can spend your life analyzing each one of these opportunities, or you can make a decision and say, well, let me try this and learn as I go. Learn as much as I can up front, but then sooner or later, you got to pull the trigger. And let's go. It's live now. Let's see what we can do, which is good. You can invest with other people, such as an investment club. I've consulted with people who want to start an investment club. It's like a business. You come to the club with bad habits. Either you're going to change them really, really quick, or it's not going to work out for you. They will put you out, and you won't have anything to say about it because they give you you get the rules up front. Okay. Oh, you didn't read them. Okay. Let me know how that works out for you. Well, I read them, but I didn't understand them. Did you ask somebody? Okay. Well, they want to do it this way, and they outvoted me. And your problem is what? Because if you was on that side that had more votes, you would be looking at you saying, what's your problem? That's how it works. The majority wins. That was the rule. The rule wasn't written. Whatever Joe says is what we do. No, it's the majority rules. And some investment clubs do very well. Then you have the not so legal susus. Okay, they work out pretty good as long as you don't get one of them crooks up in the middle there. And you never know that until they done crooked you. And you don't really have a lot of recourse because it wasn't legal in the first place.
Mm.
So these are the risks associated with making your money make money for you. And I'm sure there are a lot more.
Mm.
But anyway, I've talked for a good while. Last point, investing in the stock market. Um, like I said, you could join an investment club, or you could do it on your own. A lot of people go online and learn how to invest in the stock. You can get a book, a couple of books, read the newspapers, Google it, you know, uh, and then make a decision. Again, there's a certain amount of time that you have to spend learning how to do it. You know, it's not like the lotto. You put your money in and you hope that your luck is there and you win. Um, is there a bit of luck into it? Probably, you know, but the more you learn the skills and hone your skills and learn, you pick one or two industries that you like, that you're interested in. You like clothes, you know, buy Macy's stock.
Mhm.
Okay. At least you know what's coming up. It's fashionable.
Mhm.
It's making money or not. But yeah, so you can learn to invest in the stock market, or you can just wing it and you'll be fine, I guess, to whatever extent. Okay. So, did you want to say anything, or do I just continue
Well,
to rant?
I mean, I totally agree with all your points. Building wealth is not for the faint at heart. You have to, you know, do your due diligence. You want to know, well, one, what your goal is. If you can't set a goal for yourself that you want to reach, you'll never reach whatever you're trying to get to. So you gotta figure out what your goal is and set that as a priority. I mean, if you're not going to prioritize your goal, you're not going to be able to reach that goal no matter what it is. So and you want to set steps that you can actually obtain so that you can see the progress towards those goals. Because if you set a goal that seems unrealistic and you don't see any progress towards it, then you're pretty much going to stop doing it. So you want to, okay, I'm gonna set $100 aside for the month. I'm gonna do $25 a week, and start seeing your money grow, and that might motivate you to start doing more. Okay, I could put more to the side, and then I could put more to the side. But if you don't start somewhere, however small, I mean, even a dollar. If you saved $1 a day at the end of the year, you got $365.
Mhm.
Don't sound like much, but guess what? A couple years down the line, now you got a couple $1,000s. You see what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
the deal is to get started, towards that goal, and then increase your goal, or if you say I want to be a millionaire, okay, are you going to get there? Well, I'm not making that much money, but whatever I got, I'm living off of half of it. Let me see what I can do, save the other half, put some for the emergency, and put some towards my goal of reaching $1 million. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
the thing is, the younger you start, the less you have to put to the side. You know, if you get to be, you know, 60 years old and you're saying, hey, I want to be a millionaire, and you got to be making a lot of money to be able to save up to get to be a millionaire in a short time, especially if you're not a millionaire already. If you're a millionaire already, next week you're a millionaire. Okay. But if you grow your wealth, like I said, it takes discipline.
Mhm.
Only you can make yourself save that money.
Mhm.
Only you can get you to that goal.
I'm sorry. Well, when
No.
we talk about having a goal, um, you have to really sit down and think about the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For example, you said, I want to be a millionaire. Okay, that's a great idea. Uh, at what point?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now we
Time.
start to hone in that goal. Well, I want to be a millionaire in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do we get there? Well, I can save the money. Okay, fine. 10 years. What are you saving? $100,000 a year? Well, no, I don't have that much. Okay.
Mhm.
What are you saving? 5,000, 10,000? Well, if I save 5,000 a year, which would be divided over 12 months, what is that? I can't do the math.
Me
Well,
neither.
$500 a month, 400 some dollars.
I know 6,000 is 500 a month,
Yeah.
so it's got to be a 475.
So let's go with that.
Mhm.
$500 a month. That's $100, $125 a week.
Mhm.
Okay, can you do that? Well, yeah, I can put some money aside out of my check. I can get a part-time job. Okay, all right. So now you got those two things going for you, and you can do the math and say, well, can I save up $1 million in 10 years at that rate? Probably not. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to put my money in and get an interest rate on there. How much of an interest rate? You can calculate that. Okay. You'll probably need 25, 30%. That's unrealistic. Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Legitimately unrealistic. Okay.
Mhm.
So what am I going to? My goal is, okay, to get to $1 million, why don't I do this? I like cars. I like working on cars. And I usually know how to pick a good car, a good running car. All right. So I can trade cars. Okay.
Mhm.
I can come up with my $125 a week for 6 months, and I'll have what, 2,500, 30, $3,000 up, and then I could buy a car for three, sell it for five. Okay,
Mhm.
maybe put a few dollars into it. All right, so now I made 2,000, 1,500, or whatever like that there. So now I take out of the 1,500 I made, and I put half away, and the other half I use to put my 3,000 with, so I can buy a better car, sell it for more. All right, so hey, you got a goal, you got a time frame, and you got a way that you figured out how to make this thing happen.
Mhm.
So when we say, I said, set a goal, that's not just a phrase, set a goal. That is actually a task. Okay. And it's a good sized task, because just to speculate as to what I just laid out for you, you know, each individual is going to have something different that is going to make them, going to turn their wheels and say, yeah, I can do this. You know,
Mhm.
um, we've talked about real estate. So we'll have that conversation as to, well, what's our goal? What's our
Mhm.
time frame? What are we going to do to make it happen? Okay.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, it's, and had you started this conversation, what are you, 40?
I'm 45.
45. So we started that 40 years ago. Then where would we be now? You see?
Mhm. Yep.
Again, because, well, there's two of us right now.
Mhm.
Uh, we can motivate each other.
Mhm.
Those days when I'm saying, oh, well, listen, I really want to go on vacation and I want to, draw this money out and go do this. You might say, well, then we're going to have to change our time frame. That's not good. Or you can say, the rule is no withdrawals. Oh, okay. All right.
Mhm.
How do you answer that question?
Mhm.
Uh, and so, but you learn the discipline uh, over it, because it goes over and over. All kinds of things are going to come up, you know.
Mhm.
And then 40 years later, you be very comfortable with, well, we already know what's going to happen, and it's
Mhm.
not going to work out with you, so you're not going to be fine. Okay,
Mhm.
we've seen how you operate. It ain't going to work, you know.
Mhm.
But family ventures, and we as Black folks really don't focus on that kind of a thing. Hispanics do it all the time. All the time. You see the family working the bodega.
Mhm.
You know, and I know ain't everybody in the household want to work in the bodega. Okay?
Mhm.
They do it because they know this is what makes sense. This is
Mhm.
what this is how we do it. Okay. The Chinese folks, at the restaurant, everybody in the household's working, doing something.
Mhm.
Collectively, not individually, saying, well, I got mine, you get yours type thing. No, we're all
Mhm.
working here to make this happen. And,
Mhm.
and it makes sense. And it's not that hard. It's just a matter of committing to it because it does make sense for you. We can all work our own thing and do our own thing and live great. But then again, it may not necessarily go great. And then who
Mhm.
you going to fall back on? You
Yeah.
know, you can't look to anybody earnestly because they're going to say, "What'd you do for me?"
Mhm.
You know, when I was struggling to get my thing going, where was you? So why should I? You know,
Mhm.
uh, and yeah, you can go away, walk away, and you say, "Oh yeah, I knew he was a butthead anyway." But he's right.
Mhm.
If that shoe was on your foot, you'd be saying the same thing. No, I
Mhm.
know you. I'm not gonna help you because you won't help me.
Mhm.
You know? uh, so what is the point of this? The point of this is to be smart about what you're trying to do, but identify what it is you want to do, where you want to go, and how you're going to make it there. Now, things change, things do
Mhm.
change, but if you have the right mindset up front before you make a change, you would have thought through the same work that you did on your own plan, your own goal. Another opportunity comes along, you're going to stop and say, well, do we do this? Do we do that? Do we think through this? Is what's going to happen? We do this, whatever, whatever. And then if that all lines up like it should, now you can make a decision. You don't have to, but you can make a decision. Okay. And so that's what we're talking about as far as from a father to a son.
Mhm.
You good with that?
I'm great with that because, like I said, I mean, this is powerful stuff. I mean, a lot of people, you know, there's people that have thoughts in mind and want to do things and are trying to figure it out. And they're like, oh, okay, I know I can do this, or I know I can do that, and I know I can do it well, but I just don't have the support behind me. I don't know what direction to go to. I'm not good at researching. I work with my hands. I'm not good with finances. And when you put a collective together and you build up each person's strengths, it overshadows those weaknesses and becomes a stronger bond. And uh, we definitely need to start capitalizing on being a collective
Hmm.
because it's for no other reason than to just be better than where we were yesterday.
Hmm.
We definitely got to come together as a collective. That
Hmm.
doesn't mean we always going to agree on stuff and like each other's hairstyle or shoes or whatever,
Hmm.
but the important stuff, that really keeps us together. Hey, look, you know, I you taller than me. I'm sure I don't like tall people, but we're gonna make this money together. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I'm gonna put that little petty nonsense to the side. I'm jealous because he's 6'4" and I'm only 6 feet. That has nothing to do with my livelihood and making money so I can feed my family. So
Hmm.
put that to the side. I'm gonna say, hey, you know what? You a smart man. You know what's going on. I need to listen, get past my biases and against tall people and say, you know what? You, you really know something about this. I'm glad I listened because if I would have went with my bias and went the other way, I wouldn't know nothing. I wouldn't work with you. I wouldn't think about nothing else because I would only focus on that. So let's get together and start looking at what the strengths of each other are, finding them out and building on it because everybody's different. If we
Hmm.
weren't different, we all had the same name, we all be the same height, we all be the same color. So we already know that we're all different.
Hmm.
We think differently, we feel differently. My pain is not your pain, but you know, you can feel me when I'm saying certain things to you. You can feel, empathy, sympathy, whatever. But if we get together, we can we can overcome financial differences, emotional differences, educational differences, and things of that nature. But
Well,
I know
we,
today we're talking about finances, and
mhm.
that's definitely a key to everything.
Well, no, I understand that, and I think that as you were talking, what came to me was um, trust, which is key. But I'm not going to say that you should trust everyone that
Mm-hmm.
comes by with a good story or a good understanding of something. What I am going to say is give yourself an opportunity to learn or to work towards trusting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You, we're going to come together and do something, and we both need to put up $1,000. Well, why would I just hand you my $1,000? Why don't we open an account?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas neither one of us can take the money out unless both of us sign.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And, start there, work towards trusting. Don't
Yep.
create a situation whereas, oh, well, don't worry about that part. I got that. Wait a
Mm-hmm.
minute. No, I am worried about that part. And
Mm-hmm.
I understand it because what if you don't show up?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there looking foolish because I don't know what it is you were going to do or how you were going to do it. And I'm just dependent upon you. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, look, we open a restaurant and I'm the head chef and you're the bartender and you don't know how to make hamburgers and I don't know how to make martinis. That don't make
Mm-hmm.
a lot of sense because the first
Mm-hmm.
time you don't show up, we got a problem.
Yep.
Right? But I make good hamburgers and I'll show you how to make a good hamburger, maybe not my hamburger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you show me how to make a martini. Maybe not
Mm-hmm.
when you do, but at least we can get by if one of us is not here. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
work towards trusting is probably something that we as a people need to start understanding because if we continue to act the way we've been acting based on our past, slavery, wasn't just you know, a special event, and it was developed and it had grown to the point whereas this is a process. This is how
Mm-hmm.
we do this. And what we do to train these people to accept us as being the masters, that's something that we don't want them to forget. I don't have to keep reminding you that I'm the master.
Mm-hmm.
So what do? We instill upon you and instill in your mind these things that cause you or require you or force you to look to me to make the
Mm-hmm.
decision. And that's a problem. And I wasn't, I wasn't born into this world to be your slave.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was, somebody made an error because it ain't going to.
That's
Okay.
right.
So we need to
Mm-hmm.
start firing people quick. that
Mm-hmm.
ain't,
That's right.
but as a people, we find we don't trust each other. We won't trust each other. We don't even, if you told me, look, don't go down that hill there because it's a tiger down there. And he eats people. Oh yeah, he must be a Democrat. And then my dumb behind go down there and get ate.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, he was right. Oh, that's not right. Anyway, um, so the best way to kind of start, I would think, is at least in your own household, because at least I can watch you and see what you're doing, and what
Mhm.
you're doing, better than I could if you didn't live in the household. Put it that way.
Mhm.
Um, but you, one thing that people need to keep in mind is that businesses that can duplicate themselves grow to be big businesses. when you have a business that can't duplicate itself, at some point it becomes stagnant because it can't grow, because everybody's got to run to the master to find out what to do and how to do it. No, Ford made this statement: I do what I do well, and I hire people who do what they do well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I ain't got to worry about what they're doing. They do that well. That's why I hired them. And they ain't got to worry about what I'm doing, because what I do well. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we need to take a note from that kind of thinking. You want to be big, or you at least have the opportunity to be big, or to be more than what you are,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to leave a legacy, something behind that can continue to feed the family and those in the community, and it doesn't depend solely on me.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you want to get, because that's the way the society is working. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then don't do it anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
Can I throw something in there? Because
Sure.
we were talking about trust. There's nobody saying to trust everybody. There's this thing that we had in the military term saying trust but verify.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying to me. I
Mhm.
listen to it. It sounds good. Now, my next job is to make sure that it is actually true. You said this, okay, you're going to be here on Thursday at 10 o'clock. Thursday, 9:59, 9:59, 59 seconds, 10 o'clock. He ain't here. Maybe I shouldn't trust him.
If it was
But if they show up,
9:58 and you ain't there, you ain't there. Another business if you can. You should have been early.
True. And that's, because how do you trust somebody that you don't know? You have to give them something that's not you 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 give them an opportunity to show that you can trust them with something that's insignificant, something that okay, your time is precious, but you can spare 5-10 minutes. You're supposed to meet me at 10 o'clock. You ain't meet me at 10 o'clock. That's a bad look. How am I supposed to go on and do business with you if I can't trust you to even respect my time?
Right.
I'm not going to give you my money.
Right.
Period. Point blank.
You have to, you trust but verify, but then there are boundaries.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You say you're gonna be there at 10 o'clock. If I got to look at my watch at 9:45, there's a problem. Now either you on the phone calling me, or maybe it was a serious problem.
Mm-hmm.
You did. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
I'm gonna put on my big boy panties, and I'm gonna figure out what I'm gonna do at 9:59. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
because you ain't here.
Yep.
But again, you don't just walk in and start trying to do business with anybody. There's got to be reputation. There's got to be background check. There's got to be, all this kind of stuff's going on there. People come in with a good game, and they come in with a good game for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Either they tried it before and it failed, or they're doing it with somebody else, and you can go and verify it.
Mm-hmm.
If they've never done it before, then you know what you're dealing with. I'm dealing with somebody who's a nice person, whatever, but they haven't done this before. So yeah, it's a risk, a lot of risk associated. But at least you're going in with your eyes wide open. Okay, so we're down to 1 minute. I want to thank you, and next week we'll talk more about get closer and drill down a little more and talk about real estate transactions and the different kinds that there are that at least I know of, and whatever we can ferret out of that, and then we'll go from there to whatever conversation comes after that. All right.
Okay.
So I want to thank you and say God bless you.
God bless you.
I love you.
Can I throw something else out there real quick?
Sure.
Comments, everybody. For the viewers that are viewing us, please, if you have any suggestions or topics, right now we're talking about financial management, but please don't be afraid to send us a comment on some topics that you may want to talk about in the future.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm going to go click and we'll be off the air.